Okay, let's do a quick overview of how some simplified notes might be set up. Having organized notes is incredibly powerful. Notes are good for two things. As you take the notes, you're putting that into your brain. And so just the fact that you're stopping, slowing down, writing something down is helping you learn. So taking the notes is one thing. But technically, notes should also be used for going back to study or relearn what you have already learned as a reference. And thus, notes should be organized, they should be clear, and they should only have the things that you really want to remember from what you have seen or read. And so that's why we like to take organized notes. And this format right here is an incredibly organized and quick way to take notes. So I'm going to go over it right now and then show you a real-world example. So here we go. Let's say we're taking notes on the scientific revolution, and we have a chapter, and the chapter is entitled Scientific Revolution. And everything within the next couple pages is going to be about the scientific revolution. Well, that's the title for our notes page. Everything fits under this large heading called Scientific Revolution. Your heading should be just a couple words to tell you what everything is all about. And there really shouldn't be anything in these notes that aren't part of the scientific revolution. That's why it's a heading. So everything about this is like a heading, a topic, or a subtopic. Anything below, under a topic, should fit the topic, going all the way back to the title of the notes, Scientific Revolution. Now, oftentimes you might want to get some vocab out of the way to begin with, or your topic has some sort of overview you want to take notes on. Many chapters in educational textbooks have an overview before they get into other topics under the main heading. So your first topic might be an overview, right? And so what you do is you would put overview, indent, and then put the information that you want to put in on the overview. Maybe some vocabulary, maybe some books use setting the stage to what's going on before you get into the topics of the scientific revolution. And then each major topic has a heading. And it's only a phrase. And if we were to do the scientific revolution, I divide that into different parts of the scientific revolution, such as causes is a heading, people of the scientific revolution is a heading, the scientific method is a heading, and the effects of the scientific revolution. Now notice when I divide it, these are only phrases, causes, people, effects. Well, if there was only one cause, I would just start taking notes. But there might be multiple causes of the scientific revolution. So I divide multiple causes to multiple subheadings or subtopics, like the Renaissance caused the scientific revolution, the Reformation caused the scientific revolution. Those are just two, just to show you. And these subheadings are also only a phrase, Renaissance, Reformation. And then what I typically do is to put the information next to these subheadings. And I very much like to use bullets and dashes and arrows and such like that. And then once I'm done with the causes, and if you're lucky in a book, these different causes would be different paragraphs, and so it could be very easy that way, but who knows how that goes with your books. Once I'm done with the causes, I'm on to my next topic, which is the people of the scientific revolution. And if I'm going to do two people, I got one heading for Isaac Newton, and maybe I could put his date next to him, but notice it's just, I'm not writing a sentence, it's just the phrase, and then Galileo Galilei. All right, and if there were two more scientists I was going to take notes on, I would make another, and that'd be all under people. And once I'm done with the people, maybe I want to take notes on the scientific method. You see, the scientific method is not people and it's not causes. It deserves to be its own subheading under the scientific revolution. So the scientific method is either going to just be notes on the scientific method, or I could divide it into two parts of the method and take all the information, and then the creators of the method. It's really up to me. Oftentimes I would go in for one, here's your, let's say your notes heading is the scientific revolution. I try to have 2 or 3 of these big things, causes, people, something like that. And then, you be the judge. If there's 3 causes, you're going to 1, 2, 3 and take notes on each cause. If there's 3 people, you'll be 1, 2, 3 and take notes on the 3 people. If the scientific method, if you can just take the notes on the method and feel good about that, that's fine. If you want to break it into the parts of the method and the creators, that's fine too. Typically, lists get really, really easy because if you're going for the effects of the scientific revolution and there are 3 effects, then you have 1, 2, 3 subheadings, and after each one, you put the information. So let's take a look at what it looks like in reality, okay? I didn't take this from a book. I took it from my mind because I wanted to get it done quickly. So if you're taking it from a book, you would look at the information of your book and you would formulate it on, what you see in the information in the book, or if you're listening to a talk, okay? But let's look at how my work lined up with the template. Well, first off, we have the main heading for the notes, okay? Largest heading, scientific revolution, there we go. We do have an overview, okay, and there's some bullets of the overview, right? Rebirth of science in Europe, scientific method, new areas of study, catching up with the rest of the world. Just some information, 16 to 1800s, just some information as an overview. And then the parts of the scientific revolution I want to talk about are the causes, the method, and in this page of notes, Galileo versus the Church. And under the causes, I have 4 different causes. So you see the Renaissance, the cities, the printing press, and the Reformation. And each one of those, next to each one, I've got the information in some bullets. Spread of work, spread of knowledge, economic stability for scientists. Now I want you to notice something. These aren't complete sentences. They are only enough words to remind me of the information. If you find yourself doing complete sentences, you're taking notes wrong, okay? So also notice, I do some indentations. It doesn't have to be perfect. I give myself a lot of room, at least over half the page, to be writing the actual information. I don't indent so much, I'm only writing on the right side. Notice I personally put boxes around the headings and I underline the subheadings to keep it organized. So look at this, heading, scientific method. How it worked, the founders, and the effects are the subheadings. I underline the subheadings and I put a box around the heading. And I like dashes and bullets, and I like little lines and arrows and equals. Anytime I can abbreviate something, these are my notes. As if it's quick, easy, and I know what I mean, it's good. Galileo versus the Church, subheading his ideas, and then I list his ideas, and if I have to draw a little thing with the sun and the planets, there we go. Look at that. I'm not doing a whole sentence, the definition of heliocentric theory is this. No. I put heliocentric theory to remind me that was one of Galileo's ideas, and just for good measure, because I think I might have needed it, I did a sun and planets. Telescope. What does telescope mean? Well, when I look back at my notes, it reminds me he used the telescope and possibly invented it. If I wanted to put invented, I could have, but at least I know he was known for his telescope use. Okay? His trials. You see, these are not sentences. They are useful to me. And the effects, okay? So take a look. Scientific main heading, subheadings or topics, the subheadings, and the information. You see this page? That's how it looks for me. Yours might look a little different. Here are some tips. 1. Topics and subtopics are only phrases. They should be able to pull your eye really quickly, so you could skim your notes really quickly. Causes, Renaissance, cities, printing press, Reformation, they're only phrases. Take important info only. You're going to have to learn what's important and what's not important. Usually definitions, causes, major events, effects. Causes, effects, definitions, those are very important. Year of birth, day of birth, probably not. Leonardo's what Leonardo's father did. Unless it actually caused something important with Leonardo, it's probably not important to take down. That's just trivia. Now, if it was super important in Leonardo's life, then maybe you want to take that note. Causes, major events, effects for history, and of course definitions. No complete sentences. How many complete sentences? Very few, okay? Use symbols, use abbreviations, use keywords. These are your notes. Use indentation, but don't indent too much. Okay, this is the side of the page right here on the left, right there. Okay, so I'm using this, which is probably right before the margin line. These are on the margin lines. So if this was a lined sheet of paper, I mean, these would probably be left of margin, and these would be right on the margin, leaving me the majority of the paper to write on. Don't scrunch yourself. Don't scrunch yourself. I like to box topics and underline subtopics, right? I like to box my topics and underline the subtopics, okay? I just like to do it, and it's organized, and it helps you. And I love these bullets and dashes, right? You know, if I'm going to do his ideas, I'm going to do a bullet, right? If I love these bullets and dashes. I love equal signs. I love writing something like, quote, I think, therefore I am, and then I go under it with a little arrow like that, which means the only known truth is that one thinks, therefore they are. So I love doing that little arrow to explain something that I did. I can underline in the notes if I think it's super important. You know, how does the scientific method work? Data, underlined. Trial, Galileo admitted he was underlined wrong because I'm really accentuating that. So I use those little tricks too. Bullets, dashes, arrows, underlines. And so there's your overall format, easiest format to make notes with a real world example and a few tips. Thanks for watching.